Yeah. No, he ain't dancing. He ain't doing all that. It's too hot.
A little swag.
Yeah. It's too hot for swag.
Yeah. Kind of hot out there, folks.
Way hot. Way hot on the Northeast. It was what, about 93 degrees today here in Connecticut, but the humidity was unbearable.
Yeah, that humidity was thick.
Yep.
Cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
Or fork.
And it was a good day to take a vacation day too. Yes.
No comment.
Well, I did.
I know, yeah.
I see a few more in my future.
I call him. He's on the couch. Yeah, I'm home. Like, lazy.
Yeah, moving right along.
That's called paid time off.
Yeah,
we'll keep it at that. You got some paid time off.
It was incredible. I was sad that I missed the last episode working, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. But, Benjamin and Franklin, they don't come walking in the door. You got to go get them.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Shake that money maker, man.
Yeah.
That's a vivid sight. I don't know about that, viewers, man.
Brian, go ahead. Please tell us about the subscribe button.
Yeah, we at Exo Sports would like to thank all our viewers and listeners for their support. We're currently streaming on all podcast platforms. If you're currently watching on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe and hit gently tap the notification bell. That'll be greatly appreciated. And it also let you know when we are streaming live. Also, feel free to join in on the show, either by the comment section. You can join in, or you can also call in. Number is 475-221-5006 as well. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Guys, the passing of NBA legend, 11-time NBA champion Bill Russell passed away at the age of 88. That's truly sad.
Yeah.
Guys, what are your feelings on the passing of an NBA legend, Bill Russell?
I'll let Terry go.
So, like you said, it's very sad. The NBA lost a true legend, true ambassador to the game. I never got the opportunity to see him play live, but I just watching NBA TV. I did see a lot of footage of him, and just from a basketball standpoint, what stood out to me was his ability to block shots. You look over the past couple of days, I went back and I watched some more film on him, and I think he could have played in today's game because he was just so quick for his size. He was agile, and one of the things that you don't see today that he did, he could block shots so easily. He wouldn't block the shot and send it into the stands. He would block the shot and tip it to himself and get the fast break going, or he would tip it to one of his teammates so they could start that fast break that the Celtics were so famous for back in the mid 50s and early 60s. So, I mean, you talk about a lot of people bring up GOAT conversations. Bill Russell is almost like an afterthought. But if you look at his career, like you said, Aaron, 11 championships with the Celtics. I think he won like 8 straight from like 1959 to 1966. 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star. And he won 2 titles as a coach too. And he was the first black head coach in the NBA to win a championship.
Yeah. Yep.
You know? So, and to top that off, he's a two-time NCAA champion and a U.S. Olympic gold winner. So I mean that's just his contributions to the game of basketball. You know, that's a lot right there. As far as off the court, you know, he was kind of one of those pivotal figures in the civil rights movement. I know he marched with Dr. Martin Luther King when he gave his "I Have a Dream" speech, and he was a good friend of Muhammad Ali, especially, and he supported him. You know, when Muhammad Ali was kind of going through some tough times. He didn't want to be drafted by the military, but you know, even though, like I said, I didn't get a chance to see him play, but just from what I saw, how he interacted with, the players that came after him, you know, he always had a smile on his face and he always laughed, man. So, and he went through a lot. You know, he went through experienced a lot of racism during his time, especially in Boston. But you know, it's what he saw in his lifetime. It never got him down. Like I said, every time I saw him, he always had a smile on his face and he was joyful. So he's going to be sorely missed. Sorely missed.
Brian.
Yeah, as T said, he definitely was ambassador for sports and in life as well. And as Terry went through some of the accolades that he did go through, accomplishments, I should say, rather, because I knew about his NBA career, but I did not know about he won 2 championships state for high school. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the 2 championships in college. I did not know that. He brought University San Francisco, 1955 and 56. I knew about the gold medal. I did know about that, but with that, he had a stellar career. As Terry kind of mentioned as well, when you talk about the Mount Rushmores, people tend to overlook him as one of the greats, but his career wise, he's checked every box off that you can check. Got, like you said, he got coaching, he got that. And then you got the other aspect of outside of the game, just in life and in general. You know, I always thought he was a 7-footer. That was another thing that I thought. I did not know he was 6'10".
Yeah.
But being 6'10", he stood much taller than that. And when I say that, I'm not talking about in height, and I'm not talking about in sports. I'm talking about just in life. You know, going through a lot of the taunts and threats and adversity that he had to go through, being a professional black athlete, is something that we can't imagine. The way he handled it and had dignity and always was class personified. So you gotta, just give respect for that, and hopefully we can build off of what he laid down the foundation for, and we can continue to grow off of that.
And he was a genius. He was a genius when he played up against Bill Walton. Not Bill Walton, Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Where that Wilt had the strength, the movement, and he knew it. And in an interview, he said when he had to go up against Wilt, he made sure he would take him out to dinner and have a good time with him. And he knew that if he did that with Wilt wouldn't play angry. And if Wilt played angry, he knew Wilt was going to get the best of him. So he was smart to know, be nice to the big man. Don't get him upset. And that was pretty smart on his part. What I find amazing about Wilt, 11 NBA championships, and we talk about Michael Jordan, we talk about LeBron. You can even throw Brady in there. He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT, standing at 6'10" on top of the mountain and looking down at those guys saying, "You're not up here with me. You can talk all the Michael Jordan, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one, count my rings. I'm the man up here. I am the big man with 11 NBA championship rings." Now imagine having 11 NBA championship rings out of your career.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Put everything together, all the rings, yeah.
The one of the things that I would have loved to have seen, to just be in the background and they couldn't see me, is to watch Bill Russell, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, and Lou Alcindor at that time in a room talking about life. How can we make things better for people?
Yeah.
That I would have just loved to have been in the room just to hear these guys talk about how can we make life better for people.
Yeah.
Not talking about, hey, did you see that girl down at the other end of when we were walking into the hotel or at the club? These guys were talking about how can we make lives better for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, these guys were at the prime of their careers.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about how can we make lives better for people, not just today, but forever.
Yeah.
Right. At a time when being a black athlete it was frowned upon and could have hurt your career.
Yeah.
As an athlete.
Yeah.
Or taking your life.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Exactly.
And you know what's funny? It was just it might have been 2 weeks ago. I'm thinking I was wearing a Muhammad Ali shirt, and it said I was the greatest, or he was the greatest. And one of my daughters came and she was like, "Well, why was he the greatest?" And I just kind of broke it down to her a little bit. I was like, when he was saying that at that time, it went beyond just skills for viewers of our culture. It was to have a person that looked like us to be on TV, to speak out in the way that he did. But I just kind of explained to her about things that he did, things that he stood up for, didn't go into the war, his beliefs. And I was like, that's something that people idolize, and that's why we look at him as the greatest.
Yeah. As Aaron said, those guys paved the way for our athletes today.
Yeah.
As well as ourselves.
And it was beautiful when you would see him bringing the trophies to the guys that win the NBA championship. And, the man is a little older, maybe a little bit more frail. But when he came with the trophy, they treated him with respect. Here comes Mr. Russell.
Yeah,
with
Mr. Russell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And he will surely be missed.
For sure. Yes.
Vin Scully also passed away. And for the people that listen to the show and watch the show, Emerson is a huge Dodgers fan. And he couldn't be with us today, but he kept ringing in my ear And I was like, oh my goodness, how much more am I going to hear? And he made it to the production meeting. He says, you guys got to make sure you talk about Vin Scully. Gore, you remember some of the things about, I'm like, yes, Emerson. Okay. Just make sure you talk about, I'm like, oh my goodness, go to work now. But Vin Scully, imagine, guys, 67 years with both the Dodgers and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
A gifted storyteller, worked alone most of the time, broadcasting more than 9,000 baseball games during a career that spanned 7 decades.
Yeah.
He was behind the microphone either on radio or television. And listen to this one. 28 World Series, 20 no-hitters, 4 perfect games.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when he did the Dodgers and the Oakland Athletics, and for the Dodgers were losing in the World Series, and they brought in Kirk Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that Kirk Gibson played most of his career for the Detroit Tigers. He was a big athletic man when he was young with the Tigers, but when he got to the Dodgers, he was, and I'm gonna be honest, he was old and he had a bad knee. And for some odd reason, Tommy Lasorda let him pitch hit, and he fouled off a couple, and then boom, he hit the home run to win the game. And if you could have heard Vin Scully broadcast it, it was a part of baseball history. And the guy was really great at his craft.
Yeah.
And
yeah, him and Chick Hearns had the West Coast broadcasting down. Chick Hearns, if y'all didn't know, that he did the Laker games. So they both had it locked down, and they were very good.
And he surely will be missed. 94 years old, Vin Scully.
Yep.
Yeah. He called a lot of like you said, Gore, a lot of no hitters, but in that Kirk Gibson game, but he called what was it? I saw he did Sandy Koufax's perfect game in 65.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
715th home run in 74. He did what was it? Don Larson's perfect game in 56. And I didn't realize this, but he did Buckner's that Game 6 era in the
when
86
the ball
World
just
Series.
rolled through his legs.
Yeah. So he's seen a lot of baseball history.
Yeah. That's 715. Hank, where was that at?
That was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta, right?
Yep. And I'll never forget I think it was a few days later, Daddy, our father, got me a tablet with Hank Aaron on it. I didn't use it that much for school, but he gave it to me. Should have paid more attention in school.
He's trying to give you some kind of incentive or some kind of
inspiration.
That's the word I'm looking for. Inspiration.
Well, I didn't have it. So moving right along.
Vin Scully. Hello to Bethany Grace in the chat tonight.
Bethany Grace, what's up?
Hello, Bethany Grace. As Morris Day would say, Grace. Thank you for being a listener to Exo Sports Talk.
Definitely, yes.
Guys, Major League Baseball trades. What trades do you think was big in for team? Terry.
I mean, you gotta go with, to me, the Yankees. You know, they pulled off a trade. You know, they got a good starting pitcher and Frankie Montas. They got their bullpen a little stronger by what they picked up Lou Trevino and Scott F. Ross. And all this, I mean, these guys are, let's say what? You guys are at 70 wins, if not 70 plus wins.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
No. And then you added to your outfield, you got Harrison Bader and Andrew Benintendi. So, and all that, you guys, with the team you have, you added, made it better. And if you really look at it, I mean, you didn't really give up any top prospects to do it, you know? So you didn't, I guess, lose your future to bring these guys in. And Yankee fans can say what they want to say about Brian Cashman, but the man knows how to make some deals. So,
yeah, it's sometimes Cashman as you want to tell him at times spend, and then at times you want to say, but don't bring this guy in. Case in point, last year, Malcolm we were going back and forth about the hitter. I can see his name and his, he played
Gallo?
for Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
And I told Malcolm's like, we got him. And I said, Malcolm, that's the worst thing the Yankees could have done. And because we already had Judge that strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
We already had Carlos Stanton that strikes out a lot. So why you're adding another guy in that just shortens up the game? And he's like, no, he's going to turn around. And then this year he threw up the white flag and said,
yeah,
bruh, you're right. He sucks.
it goes with the territory. Sometimes you got to take a gamble.
Do you think the Yankees, with the moves they made, do you think chemistry-wise, do you think they might have messed it up a little bit?
I think they messed it up.
I think so, too.
I think the getting rid of Montgomery, I thought was a bad move.
Yeah.
Because when you have a young pitcher that can pitch in New York, you have to think very careful on getting rid of them.
That's a hard place to pitch.
Because if you go and get somebody from another organization and you bring them in, like case in point, small market Oakland, small market Kansas City. St. Louis is a big market in its place, but it's not like the pressure that you have in New York.
Yeah.
And so you went to these small market teams to bring in these guys, and now you've got the bright lights on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can they step up or will they freeze?
I don't think I think they'll still keep doing what they're doing.
I thought they made some moves that I didn't really agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the team that I think getting Juan Soto, Batiste.
Yeah.
I think they're basically telling the Dodgers, you go ahead and win first place. But buddy, it comes down to 1 or 3 games. And we're to 7-game series, and we're going to be right there waiting for you.
Oh yeah, they went all in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, give the Padres a lot of credit, because for years the Padres wouldn't spend any money.
Yeah.
But now they're saying, we want the Dodgers. We're sick of hearing about them out here. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see what happens.
And the Giants, don't count them out. They're always in the thick of things.
The Giants are always quiet, but the team that you always have to watch out for is the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Just when you think the Cardinals are not going to do anything, For some odd reason, they come on strong late in the season. And you're going like, wait a minute, where did they come from?
Mm-hmm.
So I always, and now that they've got Montgomery from the Yankees, they got a good solid pitcher. And now he's got no pressure on him. So I thought that was a very bad move by the Yankees, but we will see if these moves work out for the Yankees.
You know, I'm not looking forward to it. I tell you right now, I'm not looking forward to it.
Now, guys, this is something I scratched my head about, and I'm still scratching my head, and I got no hair. Is the Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has been suspended for 6 games without pay for violating the NFL personal conduct policy. Okay. They had an arbitrator to rule on it. And she said 6 games. She also said, you don't have a policy in there for me to give him more games. Mm-hmm. So I can only reflect on what you've suspended players for in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So now Roger Goodell is trying to cover his butt and say, oh no, there's a clause in the contract that I can appeal this. And I want to appeal it. And I want to suspend him for the year, make him go to counseling. Oh, and by the way, I want $8 million. Now, Terry, what do you think?
Well, I heard the same thing that you just said, Aaron. And I feel like that the NFL, to me, could have potentially put their foot in their mouth, because, like you said, this arbitrator, she purposely, from what I read, did the 6-game suspension, hoping that both sides will sit down and try and come to a resolution, whether that be 8 or 10 game suspension, and they didn't. And she took, I think she took like 5 weeks to make the decision, but I think they might have messed themselves up, because now you're talking about the NFL wants to appeal. And if they're recommending, which they are, they're going for a full season. Watson and his lawyers aren't going to go for that. So they're going to appeal whatever decision that the NFL makes. And I'm wondering, at the end of the day, through the whole appeal process, with the NFL appealing, and then Watson, I'm sure he's going to appeal. Mm-hmm. He could be on the field week 1.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is going to take time. My opinion. I mean, I just don't see. The arbitrator made a decision.
Yep.
Right. So now you're appealing that decision. And let's not, the case has, or cases have went to court, and what have the court said? I'm just going by the legal system. So this is stuff that the NFL is going to have to deal with. The players union is not going to accept a full year suspension. They're going to appeal. They're going to tell them to go forward with an appeal. So, go ahead.
Here's the thing, T. The NFL gets to pick the arbitrator.
Yeah.
So the both sides don't get to pick the arbitrator. So when you have a problem at a job, at your work job, and if you're union, both sides will pick the arbitrator, come to an agreement.
Well,
in this case, there is no coming to an agreement. Roger Goodell picks the arbitrator.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's going to try to pick an arbitrator that's going to favor him.
Right. I understand that. But again, like, I don't see Watson and his lawyer saying, well, we'll take the 12 unless, and he's like, listen, I just want this to be done with so I can move on to the next season.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see it. Yeah. Right? You went to an arbitrator and the arbitrator says 6 weeks. Now the NFL is coming back and saying 12. I could be wrong, but I just don't see Watson and his lawyer saying, well, we'll take the 12 all the day.
Yep. I agree with that. Yeah, and I agree with them having the independent arbitrator, as they're saying, and she came down with the 6. I thought there may be an appeal, but if it's anything more than 8 games, like Terry said, I think Watson's not going to go for more than that. And why should he? And for the players themselves, this is something they need to look at for the next collective bargaining agreement. Roger Goodell, you got this guy who's in charge. Like you said, you had an independent arbitrator. Now Roger Goodell gets to pick who he wants, or he can do it himself, which he probably ain't going to do it because he's not going to want that heat. So he'll pick somebody who he wants. Then, like you said, Aaron, they want additional money. So on Watson, and I look at it as he's in a tough bind. I wouldn't go for more than 8 because that's the ruling she came down with. As Aaron said as well, they don't have statutes of laws of how this is precedence and what to do. So she only went by off of what she can go by, off of the legal system. On the other end, I just want to say this. With this being said, and I said this before, you got the players. You got Roger Goodell, who talks about protecting the shield and the brand and the game. You got the owner, Miami.
We're going to bring that up.
We are? Oh, then I'll save that then.
But
who got other issues?
To your point, Brian, allegedly, we've had owners. Robert Kraft comes to mind.
Yep.
There was a situation with Jerry Jones.
Belichick.
Right. So what's protecting the brand, protecting the shield? I mean, Goodell's in a tough predicament because honestly, who runs the shield?
Yeah.
The owners.
Yeah.
But I feel like you gotta make a decision and say the same rules you hold up for conduct for the players has to be across the whole organization. And right now that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
Well, what I couldn't understand is excuse me, was what was the NFL attorneys thinking when they drew this whole thing up? You're going to say, okay, if we don't like the ruling, we're still going to be able to appeal. If I'm paying all these attorneys millions of dollars, why are you putting me in this position from the beginning?
It's leaving a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
This could be a long. I'm telling you, he could be out there week 1.
Yeah,
and it could be a long legal battle.
Well, here's one
that looks bad for who? Bless you. That looks bad for who? Yeah.
League.
The league. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's one that's going to be thrown in the league's face. There was 2 allegations with former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Big Ben. And the league suspended him for 6 games. And they reduced it to 4. So now you're upset about 6 and you want to go to 12 and you want to take $8 million away.
Mm-hmm.
what was coming down the pipe when he signed that contract. He wasn't blinded by that contract.
Yeah.
You knew once it came to your office that he's only going to get paid $1 million. Common sense knows that his agent, the owner, and Deshaun Watson, he's going to get suspended.
Yeah.
And the person that you're really, because I don't think he's going to be able to pay $8 million. I don't think he's going to wind up, in my opinion, I think he's going to get suspended for maybe 12 or the season. And they're going to say, you can't take any money away.
Well, if he doesn't play, what do you mean? You mean he will have to pay?
I think that's going to get taken out. I think he will wind up getting suspended for the season. But I don't think them being able to fine him $8 million, that's not going to work.
Well, I want to see what this arbitrator find different than what she found. What will that person base it, or Goodell base it off of that she didn't find?
Well, anybody can write something up and say, this is what I found, but it's going to go to court.
Do you think the NFL would have did anything because they kind of got a lot of heat for the ruling that came down?
If he got suspended for 12 games or if he would have got suspended for the whole year, they would have been like, okay, fine. But because it was 6 games, a lot of people are like 21 women.
Yeah, oh my. But like you said, Ben, it's one case scenario, but I don't. What do you go off of?
Well,
yeah. What do you go off of? You can name a lot of players who got in trouble.
Yeah. Well, the Ray Rice thing, right? Well, what was their original suspension until the video came out? It was 2 games, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
But here's a little soft touch.
Before you doing that, I just want to give a shout out to Debbie Gamble's in the house.
Hey,
and
Deb,
Phil
how
Dixon is in the house.
Billy D.
Hey, Phil?
What up?
What's going on, Phil?
Pete Rock.
That you chose to hang out with us tonight, man.
Yeah.
Now, the NFL disciplined Dolphins owner Stephen Ross Tuesday as the league stripped the Miami Dolphins of their 2023 first-round pick for other measures for tampering violations. The independent investigation led by former U.S. Attorney Mary Jo White uncovered one of the most extensive cases of tampering in league history. Over the course of 2 years, the Dolphins tried to recruit Brady and coach Sean Payton to join the franchise when both were under contract with other teams. Brian, Terry, and starting with Terry, do you think it's a double standard for the owners?
I mean, we kind of just talked about that a few minutes ago. I mean, and this is what I mean. This right here puts the NFL, in my opinion, in more of a predicament because we just talked about, right? There's clear-cut rules for tampering.
Yep.
Now, I've heard reports that is without a doubt there was tampering involved with Brady and Payton, right? I know they talked about the Brian Flores. They said they couldn't find actual evidence of where the Dolphins wanted to throw games, but there were some conversations that they did uncover that kind of said that it wouldn't be bad to get a first round draft pick. And what does that mean, basically? But I mean, this is again, the NFL is in a predicament. I mean, what are they talking about? How many games for him? Was it?
Yeah, I think he comes back in.
He comes back in October.
Right.
It's only, I don't know. How many games is that?
I mean, he can watch it from his yacht.
Yeah, you watch it from outside.
And you're talking what a first round and a third?
Yep.
I mean, what does that? Let's say they win the Super Bowl this year. Okay, take my first round selection next year and the third and the year after. You know, and then this is what I mean. This is some of that. What looks like a double standard of the league right now. What was the fine? Like 1.5.
1.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, who's how can I say this? I'll just say who's driving the boat? The owners or the commissioner? You know what I mean? It's kind of a double standard. And I think this right here is gonna come up in the Watson case. If the lawyers are smart, they'll bring this up.
Yeah.
The NFL is gonna have some problems on their hands.
I think is from a public relations move with the media is going to give Roger Goodell a black eye.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is the NFL isn't owned by Roger Goodell. He's just an employee, just like the other players. And he can be fired at any given time.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard for the owner, the commissioner, to come down tough unless he's got all the other owners saying, you got our blessings. And if he doesn't have the blessings of the other owners, you better tread light.
Yeah. And from what you were saying, look at it as this. We were talking about Watson, right? And as we were talking about the integrity of the game, the shield, blah, blah, blah. As T said, the investigation, clear-cut evidence of tampering. But when you get into certain aspects of throwing games or something of that nature, we don't know nothing about that. It's a little fuzzy. We're not clear. They ain't say no, because if it come out, they ain't want to have that. So they just left it as we're not sure. So now we get into players, owners, responsibilities, conduct. We talk about Watson. They want him to give him so many games. The owner here doesn't really need to be at the game. Like you said, he could be on his yacht. He can be outside the stadium, wherever he wants to be. But the fine that he got, 1.5. No, that's nothing. This guy's a billionaire. But you want to fine Deshaun, you say, 8 million or whatever. You want to take half of that. 1.5 is nothing to them.
Right.
So for what he's doing, basically, if the Flores thing turned out to be what it is, which he kind of brought all this into the light about the tampering anyway, about that whole aspect of coming up. And let's not forget Brady. I'm not saying he knew or whatever, but he unexpectedly retired. Then he comes back. We don't know if he knew anything was coming down the pike or anything, but to me, I think these owners got to be held accountable. But the only thing is, they're their own business. They got their own rules. They do what they want to do. We've seen evidence of that with Flores. See evidence of owners doing what they want to do. I don't care. Tampering, talk to whoever. I'm going to do what I want to do. They do not get hold to the same standards as the people that they say they employ. So there you have it.
Well, well, the NFL has taken hits, and when you think they say, "Oh, the ratings are going to be down," boom, the ratings are up.
Yeah.
And the money comes in.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't fine him money because he's still going to get money.
Mm-hmm.
The way you hurt him is through draft picks. You take a couple of draft picks away from him. You take 2 first-round picks away. It doesn't have to be the same year, but you can say one in 2023, one in 2025.
Nah, I do it back to back. You gotta make it hurt.
Well, the problem is it's a business.
Well, it's a business.
The owners are not going to hurt another owner unless you do something.
See,
Case in point.
There you go.
Because it's a business. They won't do it.
Exactly. That's it.
You take a look, and it burns me when I think about it. Bill Belichick. He was cheating.
Allegedly.
And there was no allegedly. He was doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And
they burned the evidence, so we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because they burned the evidence. They destroyed it. Because why? It was bad for business.
Yeah.
And though we love the game, those owners are going to protect the business.
And that's
now
what I have a problem with.
They got problems with Snyder.
Yep.
Down there with the Washington Commanders. And they're trying every tactic in the world to get around it.
And
because why? It's a business.
Yeah. And the reason why it's more of a joke for the owner to me, you said the money, yeah, that's peanuts. But taking a 1 and then a 4, 4th round, and the next one, like a 4th round, that's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what does that do? That's nothing. People give those away. Oh, 4th rounder. So I'm like, yeah, they wasn't serious. Yeah.
If you know, he looked at Roger Goodell and said, you know, if you want a contract extension,
yeah,
hurt me and see how I hurt you.
Yeah.
Something's got to be done. I don't know how you solve that issue, but
they're
gotta
too
get
big.
someone in there.
They're too big. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, but these owners are not going to hurt themselves.
Oh.
And they just showed it.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I got one for you. LeBron James has the chance to get a 2-year extension for $90 million with the Los Angeles Lakers. Terry, would you sign on the dotted line or would you wait?
Well, if you asking me, I would sign. Show me the money, I'm signing.
Yeah.
But
okay,
LeBron James,
scratch that.
billionaire.
Scratch that with the eraser. Terry, if you're LeBron James and you're rich, worth about $500 million, would you sign it?
There you go. That's a better question.
Well, I'll look at his history, and just say, after his first contract or after his contract with Miami, he's kind of been leading his own destiny as far as his contracts and what teams he goes to. So he may not sign it. I mean, there's rumors of him wanting to play with, if not one of his sons, both of his sons in the league someday. I don't know if it's possible, but if anybody could do it with the way he takes care of his body, he can do it. But I don't think he's going to sign it. Unfortunately, I just think LeBron is his own man, and He's not going to, no amount of money, especially with him being a billionaire, is going to dictate where he decides to play. It's going to be where he wants to go. That's what he'll decide to do. If he wants to stay with the Lakers, he will. I mean, he's got some good business ventures going on out there. So that may be the reason why he stays. But I don't think it will be solely because he wants to stay with the Lakers organization.
Brian.
Yeah, well, it won't be dictated by money because, his business accolade has set him up, so he doesn't need that, and he's pretty much been like that throughout his career. He hasn't really signed many long-term contracts anyway. Will he stay with the Lakers? I will kind of rephrase that question. I would say, would you guys say if he left the Lakers and went to another team, will he be chasing another championship instead of getting another championship? Because I think it will look more towards that at the end of his career to me than the way you're kind of saying it. So you think he would go chase one, or will he try to get one there with the Lakers?
I think he's always been chasing.
Yeah, that's what some people say to. But
when he left Cleveland, and I don't blame him for leaving Cleveland the first time.
I was about to say, yeah.
I don't blame him because management was terrible. They never had a good manager to get good players around him. So I don't blame him to going to Miami. Now, when he left Miami, he saw the writing on the wall that this team is only going to go this far, and I'm ghost again. And he leaves Miami to go back to Cleveland because he sees that Cleveland's got a bunch of young players, and they got Kyrie Irving, and they put a couple of free agent pieces around them. So to me, he's a hired hand.
So you look at him as career. If he was to leave his career, you'll look at him as a chaser. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, ambulance chaser, big time.
What would you take?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would say a chaser. I would say he's a builder. He tries to get pieces in place. Because even when he went back to Cleveland, what they had in place at the time, I don't know if he didn't make the suggestions allegedly to get these other players, they would have got a ring. You look what he did when he went out to the Lakers, lobbying for Anthony Davis to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's chasing more so than building, putting pieces around him wherever he goes to make sure that he can get a title. Now Miami's a little different in the sense that, I don't blame him for leaving. And I think, let's face it, no one was coming to Cleveland. If he would have never won a championship and went back to Cleveland, there's no guarantee that players would have came to play with him there. But, he had won a championships or a couple championships. Championships change things. Well, so I can't call him a chaser, but I'll just say he puts pieces in place around him to at least make a title run.
One more question, and this you can make it real quick, both of you. Same question, chaser or not. So he doesn't need the money. It was a little, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or a little comment that LeBron has said he would love to play with Steph Curry. But if he went to Golden State?
That just, you can go ahead, T.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I think that would just make him he would as high as we look at him with respect, it would drop him. It's just like you're saying, I'm going to have a party at my house tonight. Everybody's welcome. Well, nobody shows up to your party.
Yeah.
So you go next door because, hey, that's where the party is. Because your party stunk, but you're supposed to be the man.
Yeah.
What you call it? Steph Curry is your arch enemy. He beat you.
Yeah.
So now, hey guys, come on, please let me in. This will help for my career, for the history of LeBron. No, get out of here. I would tell him, no, go find your own way.
What do you think, Tay? If he,
I agree with Aaron. I think if he went to Golden State, like Aaron said, your arch enemy, like that's not how he grew up on sports, right? That's like saying Larry Bird couldn't beat the Lakers, so let me go join Magic Johnson and vice versa.
yeah.
Magic joined the Lakers. But it's a different day and age now, but I agree. For him to go to Golden State, it would look like he's chasing a ring to kind of cement his legacy.
Okay. Yeah.
But with that being, I got a question for you guys since we're on that. How do you guys feel about when Kevin Durant made that move from OKC to Golden State? And do you guys feel that did Golden State help Kevin Durant win a championship or championships? Or did Kevin Durant help them get over the hump and beat LeBron and Cleveland to win those championships?
I think he helped them get over the hump.
So do you view him, with that being said, do you view Durant as somebody that was chasing a ring or rings?
No, because when you had three dynamic players on that team in Oklahoma. You had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. When they didn't want to sign James Harden and he was coming off the bench as the sixth man, I said, they're done. When you got a man that's willing to come off the bench and pop 20 points off, who's got that? So you got a young nucleus right there. And so you begin to see the wheels fall off that Kevin Durant was maturing and he was getting it. And Russell Westbrook started turning into a diva. So that's how I feel.
Me, I thought that I didn't think he was Jason. I thought maybe he saw insight to what maybe we were privileged to see. Maybe I thought he said, I can't win with Westbrook as the point guard. I can't win with this guy. So he was like, I'm out here. So I had no problem with him going to Golden State. I thought it was a dynasty when he went, but I had no problem with him going there. Did Durant make them better? Obviously, he made them better, but they was already great, a great team. But with his skill set, they was virtually an all-star team out every night. People was just watching them like they were Globetrotters beating up on some team that you were watching the Coliseum. But
right,
and the brand of basketball they were playing was something to watch, because all of them on any given night, any of them could score 40. And it was just whoever night it was, they just, Clay, you're hot, go out there and shoot it. Steph, you're hot, go shoot it. Kevin Durant, he only needed like 20 shots and he was always hot. So It was like, but I wish he would have stayed to see how many rings they would have probably won, because they would still be right there. So But
So
I don't think he was a chaser. No.
if Durant doesn't go to Golden State, does Golden State win 2 more championships beating Cleveland without him?
I think it would be a split.
I was about to say, I think they would have won 1. 2
Yeah.
is a stretch, but they could have. But definitely, I think they would have won 1. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, guys, like Carol Burnett, I'm glad we had this time together.
ooh.
I have 2 things to say. There was a report that came on today about Aaron Rodgers taking some hallucinant drug to find himself. And he went on a podcast and talked about this. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the faces for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can say to Roger Goodell, I was just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the drug that he was taking was illegal.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking? Evidently you wasn't thinking, because you don't care, because you're getting $40 million this year.
Yeah.
It's not going to be in your system now. So
I hope he found himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, wow. Incredible. And for the last one, so long, Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, retiring from wrestling at the age of 73.
Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls out there, if you want to see an actor, a performer, go to YouTube and click on Ric Flair, the Nature Boy.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was a showman back in the day. And he had a saying, one of his favorite things when he was getting ready to go off the air, he would say, I'm a limousine riding, jet plane flying, woo, son of a gun, and then walk away. Or he would pull off his shoe and say, these alligator shoes right here, they're $1,200. And look at the guy and goes, and what is that $150 suit that you're wearing right now compared to my $1,200 alligator shoe?
And that's funny you say that, Aaron, because I wrote that down too. I was like, what can I say about this guy? And I came up with 3 and you got 2. I said, he was a great performer. He was great showmanship. He had great showmanship, and he had style.
Yep.
He had a style that nobody had. Yep. Nobody had it. He was cool. He was clean. He had the suit on, as Aaron said. I got the Gators, and he had that ring on his pinky. You know, and all the ladies love it.
So beat him, man.
Yeah,
you gotta beat the man.
Yes, indeed.
And it's funny because I remember watching him, and you take it for granted until you get older, and then you go, you know what? He was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Because so many wrestlers have come and gone and are not good performers.
Yep.
He was a great performer.
Yep.
And to the wrestling world, we will miss the Nature Boy.
The Nature Boy. Yep. Yeah.
But guys, until next week, maybe we should call Emerson the Nature Boy. Nah, just keep him as a... No.
Already bad enough as it is.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, don't give him no more fluff.
Yeah. So, ladies, gentlemen, we say adieu until next week.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Terry, tell them about that subscribe button, please.
Thank everybody for tuning in and listening in tonight. please hit that subscribe button. Leave your comments if we can, on how we can improve the show. And tune in next week. We might have we'll call him the swagger boy back on the show next week. Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. I'll leave you with a couple of Ric Flair sayings.
But to beat a man, you gotta beat the man.
He was the one, man.
Classic.